All right, back at working here again today. I've already started working and I've got this. What I'm gonna do is I'm building a platform here, and I'm gonna take that sheet of plywood and build a cabinet, sort of. It's gonna be more of a, kind of like a box, and it's gonna go between here and here. It's gonna be just a place with probably 4 shelves, tuck towels in, all that kind of stuff, whatever the Empress decides. But that's what I'm working on. So the plan is, I got 1 sheet of plywood, and from here to the top is about 68 inches, I think. So what that should leave me is, I'm gonna cut the 2 sides at 13 and a half. I was gonna do 13 3/4, but you know what? I always wind up fighting a 1/4 inch. If I make it 13 and a half, it gives me a little leeway to push it back further if I want to or out. That way I don't have to fight with the trim when I put the trim on. And it's gonna be, the back is gonna be, and then the back is gonna be 13 and a half too. So what'll happen is that 13 and a half will go between the 2 sides, and it will make it so that it's wide enough. Scratch that. The 13 and a half is going to go on the back of the 2 sides, and that should work out widthwise between here. It's about 13 3/4 between, so it gives me a 1/4 inch leeway, which probably is a little tight really, because if I got anything that's out of whack, it's going to bang. So basically what I got to do is just cut out 3 of these out 13 and a half. Between the 2 sides when I cut them down in the back, I'm going to wind up with the 2 pieces for top and bottom, and I should wind up with 4 shelves, all out of the 1 piece of plywood, and there's going to be an 8-inch strip, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but we'll think of something. I'm always telling Connor he doesn't really need a table saw, but I'm not convinced myself. But anyway, here's what I did. I set this up. This is the edge of the table. It's 15 1/8 inches. I got to get my 13 and a half right here, so I'm just going to follow that board down there with my Makita saw. There, not too bad. I don't want to mess it up because it's a $50 sheet of plywood. But yeah, I can't complain because plywood come down quite a bit. Let's see how I did. 5/8. So I'm a little big. 5/8. 5/8. Well, I'm uniform though. Probably what'll happen is I'll use this for the back. Got to set up for the next one. Make sure I'm just at 15 and a half on this one. Actually just 15. It was 15 1/8 to the table, so. This dust really gets me coughing. I like these little quick clamps. They really work nice. And they're pretty cheap too. I want to catch that 2x4 underneath too while I'm at it. Clamp this board on there nice and snug so it doesn't go wiggling around on me when I'm sawing. I don't want that to happen. Okay, I'm right at my mark there. Right at my mark on this end now. Let's see what happens. I'm going to give it a little nip and measure just to make sure I'm not jumping off a cliff. 13 and a half, right on the money. Table tried to slide under the board. So I probably got a little wiggle here. See how I did on this one. Oh yeah, perfect. 13 and a half. Perfect. Perfect. We're good to go on that one. No one's more surprised than I am. So I'll probably use this for the back since it's got 2 cut edges. I think what I'm going to do now is cut the other one, but I'm going to cut it in such a way that I keep the factory edge. That'll be my front edge. So I got to flip the sheet. Okay, I didn't flip the board. I just, you know, put my guide to the other side. Let's see how this works out. I'm not so sure about it. I did jack it up too. Now I'm going to do a quick nip and check my number. Probably because I'm so paranoid. That's 13 and a half. Looks right, everything looks right. Always look at stuff, you know, I always look, and my edge here is the same all the way down, so kind of tells me I didn't do something dumb, like put it on the wrong side of the line or anything crazy like that. Okay, let's see if I'm still a hero. 13 and a half. Perfect, perfect. Even with a table saw, it takes 2 guys to do it, and it don't come out as good as this did. So I'm pretty happy with it. Now I got to put the box together. Well, I guess first I got to cut my lengths to length. So that's all 3 of them. I got to cut them off like, I got to go measure inside. That'll cut them off the length. So after I've made my cuts, I see the one is wider than the other 2, so that's going to be my back. The other 2 match up pretty good. Almost perfect. Not quite. But I also have my razor line here. I'm going to make that cut, all 3 of them at the same time, because I want these to be exactly the same length. So I've got them all edged up here. I got to check my table and make sure my saw is set on 0 degrees and I'm not doing an angle cut or anything silly. Make this cut, and I'm going to screw the back to the sides, get a top down on it, and put it in, see what it looks like. Figured out the best way to put this together, just to get it together, because I just got 3 boards I can't handle or flopping all over. So I got this one leaning up against that sheet of sheetrock there, and I got this one leaning up against the other one. I'm going to manipulate them and get a tack in them. And when I say manipulate, I mean I'm going to even them up and hopefully not nail my fingers in the process. Not bad. So I got that. I already had it together once, but I put the wider one on the side. I wanted it on the back. So I had to tear it apart, redo it. But that was not exactly the end of the world, so we're all doing fine. Gotta roll it back a little to get my edge right. It's amazing what one of these nails will hold. And they shoot in the side of that plywood tight enough, when I pulled it apart, it pulled the nail through the other piece. I thought it would pull it out of that end grain, you know, but no, it's pretty good. So I did this end. What I'm gonna do now is cut my shelves. Get them all fitted, just start tacking everything together. So since this whole thing only has 2 nails in it and there's no stability, I'm going to measure the back corner because that's my actual width. And then I'm going to measure from the back to the front, and that's my actual length. Holy smokes, it's hot. Anyway, I got a box. Pretty exciting. It's amazing what it takes to make a box. It's also amazing what it takes to make cuts right. I got them all right, but the variance in them, there's a little bit. So you can't panic over that stuff. You know, once I go ahead and doll it up with some trim and mullins and all that kind of stuff, it'll look great. Just like this one. Very simple, was easy to make. It's a box made out of plywood. And then I just made some, you know, 1x strips to cover up the edge of the plywood and fit out with the molding and stuff. So I think it's good enough. It's going to look good. We are a little bit of a rustic theme here anyway, so it's all good. These shelves about 12 inches apart. Any more than that is a waste. Actually, I could go less. You know, like a roll of paper towels or something is like 10 inches, so it's plenty of room to put stuff in. I measured down from the top, and I put layout marks at each one on both sides, so I got that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my Swanson and square them up from there. I might drop it down here and square them up, but I'm just going to square it. And that's pretty much going to be what it's going to be. Make sure I hit my marks, square it with the Swanson. I'm going to shoot it with the little finish nailer. And I'll have this thing together in a heartbeat. Then I'm going to go ahead and reinforce the whole thing with some screws. I got these little screws I want to use up anyway. They're a little Phillips head screw, bugle head. They'll go in there and they'll hold this thing all together. They gotta learn my lesson by now. I should have made it just a little bit smaller. The thing was so tight I had to pound it in. And I got it bottomed out and I still got a little bit sticking there. Well, guess what? I'm just gonna have to trim a little extension for the other side of my trim, and it's gonna trim it out, and it's gonna be a little longer, and I'm not gonna worry about it because that's what it's gonna be. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there. Part of it will probably be the door trim. Maybe you just come right over to that. I don't know. A little tricky, but hopefully we'll come up with something that looks decent. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys on the next one.